Hello there. Welcome to, I would say, almost the end of this series of videos. Me reporting on my composition process in this piece for bass trombone and harp. I finished the piece, I sent them to the performers, and we had a Skype where they played like the piece through separately, just the trombone and then just the harp. They gave some very important suggestions, and this process is always very enlightening for me because I learned so much in this process. For sure, after I see the piece performed, I will still even learn more because there is always some things that after hearing the performance, I always think, I could change that part didn't go so well, that part I like, and I always learn a lot through this process. So, what did I change in the piece after discussing with the performers? So the first thing was the beginning, because in the beginning I had B and then C, B, so this B here, and it was very hard for the trombonist. It was very hard and he could not control the dynamics. I mean, they can reach the note, but he could not control the dynamics. And interesting, I asked him about the register of the bass trombone, and he told me like from until this note was quite okay, he could do it, and from C sharp to F, this F is possible, but he has to reach it by half steps. And so I was like, okay, I'll not go through to the highest register, so I'll just go at a B, because this happens a lot with performance, is that they tell you they can do more of what they actually can, because they don't want to upset the composer. So that's why I wrote a B, but it was still too much, so I went down to a G sharp and then a G sharp. And of course, performers now also tell you, just put octave down. Instead of that B, you put a B octave down, so it would be this B. But then it makes no sense, because this kind of music is more about the effects, and the effect of having a high note just as the first hit, you know, and that B an octave lower would be just a normal B. It has no special force to it. So I had to change that. And also I started with the bucket mute, but the bucket mute, even though it makes the sound a bit softer, in this register doesn't make so much difference, but I wanted to use the bucket mute for this part where he does play the low notes. Here I wanted the bucket mute, and here he could not play with the bucket mute because it was just too high, and the mute makes you have to blow even harder. So I had to remove the bucket mute here and add an harp solo, which was what I did. It was not in the plan to have a harp solo here, but I just added because I'm usually quite flexible and it's the best option. So this is the compromise. You have to make compromises. So this was one of the very important things that I learned. Another very interesting question that I learned was this part where the trombone plays boom, boom, ta-dum, and quite fast, so it's pam-pam. And because he has the wah-wah mute before, this note was actually a B natural. It was a B natural before. But because he has the wah-wah mute, he cannot play this B natural, because one hand is holding the mute and the other hand is needed to play this note. He can only play a pedal tone, and the pedal tone is a B flat. And so of course I could write the B one octave higher, but that makes no sense, because it's the effect of having a very low note and a very high note. And this B actually fits the harmony, and the B flat actually doesn't fit the harmony, doesn't fit the mode that I have written. But this is one of those particular cases where we almost don't understand the note. It goes so fast that if it's B or B flat doesn't matter really. It goes so fast and it's just more just an effect, you know, So I don't mind being a B flat, which is actually not in the mode, but nobody will notice, so it's fine, and it also sounds convincing. So this is one of those things, you have to be flexible. Yes, I have my modes, B flat is not in the mode I'm using at this moment, but in this scenario it's fine. Also, I had a pedal of F sharp here, and I disrupted my pedals. Pedal is when a note stays constant, just to make it clear. And what I did was that I added a lot of these so I added a lot of these notes. You see a lot of piano subito, forte, forte, piano subito, forte, diminuendo, a lot of dynamics. And before it was sempre pianissimo, it was always quiet. And it adds a lot of energy because this part is really and this it adds a lot of variety. And also he told me, the trombonist, and it's actually true, that the wah-wah mute in this register, because it's quite high, doesn't have such a big impact. So for example, in this C, the mute has a better effect. The effect is more pronounced. Also in this D especially. So in this D, so I added a lot of lower notes. So I still maintain the pedal because I wanted this pedal. The harp has also the pedal, the notes being constant of the F sharp. But I added these notes to give a little spiciness. About the harp, I had to explain many of the effects. Usually I like that the score is as clear as possible, but the harpist was not familiar with some of the effects, or this notation was not very clear, even though I copied the notation from other pieces and literature, from harp literature. But anyway, it's nice to, you can be with the performer, they can play the effect for you. They can play the percussion, so here the harpist plays a percussion with the hand. Here they play the third effect. These effects I showed in previous videos, and it was nice to have the Skype with the harpist, so I could explain the effects and she could play them for me if they sound right, if they don't sound right. And for example, I added this very nasty chord. First I had just a random glissando in the high register, but I didn't want it to be glissando because I wanted to be really non-arpeggiated, and it's quite scary. It's hard to understand the notes. I have to zoom in because it's very, very hard to understand the notes. Is D, E sharp, F flat. You see that the accidentals, they are all over the place. It scares a bit the performer, but this is one of my dark sides, because I like to scare the performers a bit. I like to put like violent glissando, like violento, which is Italian for violent. I really like to scare a bit the performers with these violent things in the score. It's just fun, you know, it's just fun, and music is fun, so that's why I do it. The harpist was also a bit scared about all of these polyrhythms, yes, because for example here I have triplets and here they are not aligned, so these notes are not aligned. Here I have semiquavers and then the triplet here, so all these rhythms, it's like they are regular, like have a regular rhythm, a regular pulse, but these non-alignments, even though the rhythms are easy, when they are combined together and they are quite non-regular, they feel a bit, wow, where is the beat? Where am I, you know? And that adds a lot of excitement. It will be hard a bit for the harpist to play, but it's not impossible. They are good musicians. I know they can do it. At least I hope so. If I can, I will write the way I want it to sound like. So for example, here we have triplets, non-aligned with the trombone, and then this chord is aligned, and then we are back with glissandos, and then another rhythm, we had triplets, and now we have semiquavers here. So the rhythm is constantly changing. I'll even play it back for you so you can listen, just this part. You see, it's quite, it went very fast, but it's quite frenetic, quite chaotic. Yeah, this is another place where I put that into practice. For example, I have triplets here and I have semiquavers here, so this is ta-da-tan, which is quite regular, and tan-tan-tan. But here I have triplets, so you have triplets and semiquavers, so it's like two tempos, two tempi occurring at the same time. Like the left hand is doing always triplets, a specific rhythm in triplets. Ta-tam, pam, tam, tam, tam. So it sounds like this. So the rhythms are not actually hard if you play them isolated, but when they go together, the listener will not understand where the beat is. And that's what I like. I mean, in certain contexts. In these concerts, that's what I wanted, because there's other places in the piece where the beat is actually felt quite strongly. And so I wanted to have these disruptive moments that give excitement to the piece. You always have to be aware that it's not easy for the performers, but that's how you want it to sound like. So I want it to sound like this, so I write like this. There's always this dilemma: should I write something easier? Should I write something more complex? Actually, writing complicated music has an advantage, which is the more complicated it is, the less performers will try to play it, which has a negative side because your piece will be performed less because it's hard, but the ones who will perform it good, because it's so hard that only the good will attempt to do it. It's kind of an entry barrier. It's a bit like trying to enter a club of friends or whatever. Like, if a club is very easy to enter, if everyone can join the club, then it's not an important club anymore because everyone can join the club. But if it's a club that has some requisites that you need to attend, then it's discriminatory, yes, but the people who join the club, they are really committed to it, and that's a good thing. So it's a kind of balance. I cannot write stuff that is so hard that nobody will perform it, and you don't want to write the hardest music possible. You just want to write the doable music. So this is hard but doable, and so it's fine. I'm very happy. The piece is finished. I feel a bit relieved now. I have other projects to attend to, and I hope you enjoyed this series, and see you on the next time.